What's up, everybody? This is Mitch, one of your regular hosts that you hear every single week at this terror table. And I just want to jump in before this episode rolls to give you all a quick PSA that the recording process behind this episode did not go as planned. This is one of my favorite episodes we've ever recorded. It was a ton of fun for both myself and our very special guest. But I wanted to give everyone a fair bit of warning that we haven't recorded an episode in person in quite some time, since the beginning of the pandemic, I believe. And I'm a little bit rusty. And I guess when I went to record this episode, I only recorded one microphone. Big time rookie mistake, and I apologize. But this episode was too much fun. It was too naturally... I don't even know how to explain it. You're just going to have to listen. You'll understand why I didn't want to lose this episode. This is a very good one. I had a ton of fun with this guest. I sincerely hope that you guys enjoy it and can bear with us. You're just not going to get as good of quality from the Terror Table as you normally would when it comes to the sound. But the content, it's all there. All there and more. This is a super fun episode. So please, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you can stick with it. I did what I could to save it. So, yeah. I guess just enjoy this wacky ass episode, and we'll see you guys next week. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Terror Table, a horror movie podcast that's presented by the Saskatchewan Podcast Network. My name is Mitch, and I'm one of your regular hosts that you hear every single week, and today is a very, very special episode, something that's been a long time coming, a long time talked about. We are going to be talking about all 4 Insidious movies today. So this is our Insidious special, something I've been wanting to do for all 5 years that we've been a podcast now. Jesus, 5 years. And yeah, my dumb co-hosts don't like these movies. So I'm bringing someone along who I know does like these movies. So I would like to welcome professional nutrition coach and co-owner. Are you co-owner or owner?
I mean, we'll say co-owner.
Okay, co-owner of Mob Fitness, registered massage therapist, supplement world ambassador, horror fanatic, and my ex-girlfriend, Morgan Hladiuk, to the show.
I was wondering if that was going to be a thing, but yeah.
Of course we're going to talk about it.
Let's dive right in.
Yeah, so I guess, welcome to the show, Morgan.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. This is going to be kind of like a post-mortem of our relationship, I think, that we're going to let people in on this.
I figured it would be.
So I figured, so like I said before, I guess my first question is, before we were friends, we were lovers.
Yes.
So my first question for you is, when did the love die?
You know what? I haven't really talked about this. When's the last time I saw my therapist? I can't remember. When did the love die? I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe 2 years before we actually broke up, probably.
Yeah, I would say that's about accurate.
When we were like really super cool roommates, still did lots of cool stuff, and then I wanted to move to New Zealand to become a massage therapist. That never happened, but that was the plan.
Yeah. Well, you moved to Canmore for a bit, which is a little bit better than, or I don't know, I haven't been to New Zealand, but they're both 2 of the most beautiful places on earth, I'd imagine. But yeah, I guess before we get into talking about, we're going to be, I know you've heard a couple episodes before, but we're going to talk about what we've been seeing recently, and I know I asked you to prepare a little list, but before that, I just want to give our listeners an update on your history with the genre. So I know, obviously I know this, but why don't you fill our listeners in about what made you the horror fan that you are today?
I mean, you asked, that's a loaded question because you know what the answer is, and it's you.
Okay.
You got me into horror. I think one of the first movies I saw was in, oh God, I don't even remember when it was. Maybe when I was like 13 or 14, I went with my soccer team to like Saw or something, like the first ones. And I remember it being fun and everything, but I didn't really have like a taste for it. I was really into, because my dad was into metal, right? So I was into like spooky shit, like Ozzy Osbourne.
Shout out Darren.
Shout out to Darren. He is a large part of why I am the way that I am today, which is a good thing.
Your dad's awesome.
I think. My mom probably won't listen to this. Maybe she will. Love you, Sheila.
Yeah, love you, Sheila.
Yeah, so I didn't really watch a lot of horror until like we started dating, and I mean the classic story is we, on our first date, you wanted to take me to the proposal.
Yeah, okay. I gotta say, I was talking to my sisters and my mom, and I was like, I really like this girl, so like, what movie should I take her to? Because like my gut instinct is always horror. But they said take her to The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. So
honestly, not a bad flick either. I did enjoy that.
I never saw it.
It's like not bad, but I just thought, you know what? I don't really want to go see like some like rom-com.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. Like, I always kind of thought I was super nervous to go out with you, so I was like, hey, we need to. I guess my thought process was like, let's go see something that we're both gonna like. It'll distract us from the fact that we're on a first date.
Yeah.
This looks really interesting. So we went to Drag Me to Hell.
Yes, Drag Me to Hell. Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell. So that was basically like big time hard eyes for me when I was like, okay, yeah, I guess we can go see Drag Me to Hell. I was wanting to see it really bad and hadn't yet. And we went, and if I recall correctly, we both pretended like we didn't really like it at first, because we didn't want to seem like psychos to each other.
So, yeah.
And then it was about like a couple months into our relationship when I was like, hey, look, like I'm kind of a nerd and I'm kind of like obsessive with horror. Like we would call in sick together from work all the time and binge horror movies in this very room. Doesn't it bring back memories?
It does. Like, it's like I walked in here and I had flashes like an old war vet.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, no, so I remember like I think the first day we watched like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake or something. It was like, and then we watched it, we really liked it, and then you were like, can I tell you something? And I was like, what? You said, I actually really liked that Drag Me to Hell movie. I was like, me too. Yeah, totally. And then that became something in our relationship. We watched that like every year for like, a long time.
Yeah, long time. 700 years?
700, yeah, 700 years. Yeah, that's what it felt like at least. But so obviously our relationship became but a big part of our relationship was watching horror movies, and we were horror pals. Like we'd go see, you and I went to every single movie, like whether it was horror or not, but it was especially the horror movies that really got us excited, and we just became complete nuts together, I feel. So, and I guess I wasn't going to give you any compliments on the show, but you're the one who made me two things. I'll just get out of the way really quick. I was always ashamed of being a horror fan or like into comic books or superheroes and all that stuff. And it was you that really embraced it with me. And you told me that you actually found all that shit really cool. And I was like, oh my God. So I came out of my shell so hard because of you. And you were also the very first person to ever tell me that I need to be working in film. You were the first person. So we're sitting in my room that we've spent so much time here just binging movies. And I'm sitting beside 10 bins and my TV, everything's all packed up. The room's empty, and I'm moving across the country to pursue it. So thank you for putting that in my head and telling me that you believed that I could do it. And you've been nothing but supportive ever since. But you're a big reason why I'm doing this. And the same thing with the podcast. We were originally going to do this podcast. It was going to be me, you, and Diego.
I remember that. And I have regretted that decision not to do it.
Well, it was at a bad time. We broke up 3 months after.
That would have been super awkward.
Yeah.
Coming in.
Yeah.
Poor Diego, that would have been awkward for him.
I'm sure it was awkward enough for him. He was our roommate in the basement. Got to listen to us scream at each other.
Whatever, he probably liked it.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, he's a man who loves his screaming. But, all right, cool. Well, yeah, so going all the way back, what are some of the movies that come to mind when you think about the best ones that you discovered with me, or whether they be ones I showed you or ones we went to in the theater? You can just kind of rattle them off. Let's just talk about them a bit.
Yeah, so, I mean, initially you asked me to make a list of 5 fucking movies. Are you kidding me? So I showed you my list when I got here, and it's over, 50.
I love that.
I had to, dig through, all of them to be like, okay, which ones do I... So I just thought about it right off the bat. I was like, okay, which ones do I remember? So a lot of, my brain is just, I think I've reached my biological limit of alcohol.
Yeah.
We drank so much.
We drank a lot. We ate lots of pizza, lots of candy cups.
We got fat together,
Yeah.
we got fit together, and then we
got fat again. Yeah, that's exactly. We were both in decent, we were in good shape when we got together. And then it was the horror movies really, really plummeted us into obesity. But that's also something I want to talk a little bit about before we get to the main features. I just know for people who are movie fans and fans of this stuff like myself and you, it's really easy to fall into those those ruts where you just sit and you order pizza and you drink and you just watch movies and you eat junk food and you like can't keep weight off or your body keeps fluctuating. And that's something that you've now dedicated your life to doing. And you've made like an insane name for yourself with Mob Fitness and like all your RMT stuff. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. For maybe we'll end the episode with some tips that you could give to people.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I say all the time, you know, like getting fat is like super fun. Like I had a really good time.
We had such a good time.
Right?
Yeah,
But
we only broke a couple bed frames. We literally did break one bed frame.
Who said this? But someone said fat sex is the best sex.
No. Just two fucking beluga whales. Like, can it please be over? Just go back to eating pizza.
God. Yeah, no, the getting fat part is really fun, but the being fat part was definitely not fun. And I mean, I've lost over 100 pounds now.
Congratulations again. You look amazing.
Thank you. With kind of trial and error and everything, but kind of, you know, I went to multiple courses and everything, and now I actually like figured out how to do it, how to be successful at it. So absolutely, like movies and things like popcorn. And
Yeah.
like, I still can't go to the theater without getting snacks and stuff.
Yeah.
But they're obviously
Remember popcorn Skittles?
popcorn. Yeah, of course. Are you kidding me?
And we'd both be like tag team in the bathroom.
Oh, my poor stomach. Like
Yeah.
now it's just like, oh, I didn't have GI problems. It was just because I ate like a bag of shit.
Yeah,
today.
and we drank more beer than water.
Man, I still remember the best summer of my life was between school years when I went to massage school. I had August off, and that's it.
Yep.
4 straight weeks I had no job.
And I built you a deck.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We had Deck Fest.
That was
Yeah.
fantastic. So, like, just another reason to drink, essentially.
Yeah, we'd be
That
fat.
fueled that. We're like, we need a deck because, like, where are we supposed to drink back here? There's nowhere to drink.
Yeah.
But I literally sat on my ass almost every day. Like I would wake up at like 11 a.m. every morning. I would drink a pot of coffee and play video games, and then like I don't know, 3 p.m. would hit, and a little alarm bell would go off in my brain, and be like, "It's beer time."
Yeah, it's beer time.
I probably drank like I don't know in 4 weeks
You
hundreds of beers.
you drank more than I did, and I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
Like I drank a lot, but you could pound it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a professional drinker at that point.
Yeah.
Like when I got to Canmore, man, it was like 2 bottles of wine during like raids and stuff.
That's insane.
And
Yeah.
it didn't even touch me. It was pretty. It's not impressive. I had a problem. But at the time, I'm just like, yeah.
I remember the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I remember you posting it on Instagram, so I can say it. But you posted that Homer Simpson laying in that little pool, and then you bought one of those little pools. So it's, we were.
I reference that all the time. Actually.
Yeah.
I still bring that up because I was pissed that summer because that's the life I wanted to live was the Homer Simpson eating a hot dog in the pool, drinking a beer.
Yeah.
And that entire fucking summer was just like cloudy and shitty.
Oh yeah, it was bad. I remember
go to
that.
the pool once.
Yeah. No, I think our dog did.
Probably.
Yeah,
Oh,
but that's
yeah, I
fine.
put his paws in there. But, circling back, like I figured this was going to happen when we have like
Yeah, we're
300 unopened tabs, but it's totally fine. But no, you totally got me into horror. And right off the top of my head, when you asked me which ones I remembered the most, and I had to look up the names because my brain is just like I was saying, it holds nothing anymore. I just have zero memory. Like it's all kind of foggy. But like when you asked me to look at the movies that, you know, just look at like you said, just Google like 2010 horror, 2011 horror, and I totally did that. And it was just like,
memories.
you know, I've never done acid, but they say like sometimes you have like acid flashbacks.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like. I was like, oh my god. So all of these like memories came up. But for whatever reason, the Martyrs
Oh, Martyrs. Yes.
has always, and I've talked to clients about this, and I just could never remember the name of it. That was one of the ones where when we watched it, I think that might have been one of the first foreign films you had ever shown.
Yep, I think it was.
I was like, man, what the actual fuck?
We were so fucked up from that. Like, that's still till this day. Like, we did an episode on that during the pandemic, and that was only the second time I'd watched it because I remember watching it with you. And I remember it's like one of the only movies that actually still bothers me, but it's so good.
I kind of want to revisit it because I'm going to do, again, like I successfully did a 30 Days of Horror last year, which I was so proud of myself. I'm kind of, like I did a lot of, like, I put in the Simpsons Halloween specials every now and then, and like I did, like, Paranorman and Frankenweenie and stuff, because I didn't want to.
Both great movies.
Super great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And my rule is kind of like, as long as it's like Halloween.
Yeah, spooky-ish.
Spooky-ish.
Yeah, like we call Beetlejuice a horror movie, and I get smited for that, but it's totally, we always watch Beetlejuice like every year for Halloween. That's classic.
Like, it's like got ghosts and shit. Same thing with Hocus Pocus and all those things, right?
Yeah.
But I guess like I didn't watch, after we broke up, like I didn't watch movies barely, let alone horror movies, for like a really long time. And I didn't want to come out of last October like a changed human being. Like I didn't want to mess with my psyche, because if I had just watched like nothing but fucked up movies. So it was funny, like as I watched it, it became like darker and darker and darker, like as I went. And I finished off with The Exorcist on Halloween.
Yeah, perfect.
But I think on the 30th or something like that, or later on in the month, I finally was like, okay, I'm going to watch like Midsummer and the ones that people have been saying like, oh, this one's so fucked up.
Yeah.
And whatever, and The Evil Dead, like the new
the remake
one, I remember.
Remember, we went to that opening. That was the first time they, like, it used to be midnight screenings on a Thursday. That was the first time they changed it to 8 o'clock. So we were there at 8 o'clock. There's a sold-out theater. Do you remember a guy standing up and laying down?
No.
That happened. Because that movie was like, fuck, I still love that movie. Yeah.
I think that's what actually finally broke me, because, I mean, I was broken way before then in regards to, like, being
Little desensitized.
To shit like that. But that, like, it was unrelenting.
Yeah.
The gore and the craziness. But I still remember, like, it was fucking yesterday, and I'm just gonna circle back and like say, remember when I said my brain doesn't work anymore? And I don't. This is like I watched it like 5 seconds ago, when he's in the kitchen and he's trying to saw his arm off, and he turns around. Hanging from like this piece of sinew, and it just like falls. I remember everyone like was horrified, and I'm sitting there and I was like, holy fuck, look at this shit.
Yeah.
Like I was killing myself laughing, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, that was the day you really just lost it all.
Yeah. So we should look back and see what date that was. That would be interesting to see like when it came out.
Yeah, I know it was 2013. So that was fairly early on.
Oh my god. Yeah, I guess it would have been. Yeah, that makes.
Or I guess the halfway point.
And then the rest of it would have been. Yeah. Yeah, so The Evil Dead are still my favorite. Like, I love those movies, all of them, the old ones and the new one.
I was just telling you the other day that I will never not watch Army of Darkness and not think of you, because, like, as people can already tell, you have an infectious laugh. But your laugh when he's doing the shop smart, not shop smart. You got that?
His timing, oh my god, his timing. It was just, and still, like I told you when we were talking about it the other day, I will be like, some people talk to me when I massage them and some people don't, and every now and then my brain just like offers up that scene, and I giggle every time. I just love that. It pops into my brain every time. But so I made a list, and I'm
curious because
I don't even know how many movies are here. But then I had to go through and I bolded them and underlined them for a specific reason. Not necessarily because like I loved them all. Like, it was really hard for me to pick which ones I actually really loved, because I do love them all for different reasons. Yeah. There was only one I remember, and this is one of the only movies that I've actually gotten like viscerally upset.
I remember it.
Do you remember which one it is?
The Green Inferno.
No, actually.
Okay.
That one actually, I vaguely remember that one. I might have repressed it. I do have it on the list because I remember watching it.
Yeah, you hated it.
But I don't remember.
You were pissed.
I think I wanted to, because that was Eli Roth.
You did tweet him. You tweeted Eli Roth and said, fuck you. Poor guy.
That doesn't sound like something I would do.
Because that was the same night we saw, that was at the Saskatoon Fantastic Film Festival, and we watched, it was Green Room, which was one of the best movies ever. We knew we went in, that was when there wasn't even a trailer. The movie didn't come out for another year. We had seen it like a year before it came out, and then they started bringing in ribs. Remember, they were serving ribs for the Green Inferno?
Oh, yeah.
And then, we left the theater, and you were so fucking mad. If we didn't even get to the car, you would be like, I just tweeted at Eli Roth. And I was like, what'd you say? Fuck you.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would do. Okay, so there's two movies.
Okay.
That one I actually repressed, apparently. I don't remember that one. Maybe I'll have to revisit it.
No, you don't. It's still not good.
There was another one. It was a Friday the 13th. Like, one of the, like, I don't know. I don't know how many movies there are.
It was one of the Friday the 13th movies?
I think so, from what I remember. So the premise of it was they were like down in the South.
Hatchet. I feel like it would have been Hatchet.
I don't know, because like maybe.
Because I remember you not liking Hatchet.
I put Hatchet on the list, and I remember not liking it for different reasons.
Yeah.
Because I'm not really a big slasher guy. But this one in particular, I remember it ending. I don't remember anything about it except for the main character, of course, just like, and this is gonna make me sound catty or whatever, but like I understand there's a level of smut that comes with horror movies that like we all love and appreciate, but this was just like insane. Like she was just like, you know, huge.
Oh yeah, it was the Friday the 13th remake. Yeah,
I mean, like,
the obnoxious sex scene.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah. So there was that, and then at the end, I don't know if you're remembering this, but she was like long lost cousins with Jason.
Yeah.
And then,
Oh no, you're thinking of Texas Chainsaw 3D. Texas Chainsaw, and that was, we had broken up for like 2 months, and then we got back together, and you were like, we can go to whatever movie you want, and we went to Texas Chainsaw 3D, and that movie is a pile of shit. And that was Alexandra Daddario, remember?
Okay.
She,
Was it?
yeah,
Which
she's
is fantastic.
the true detective boobs.
God, that was a gif on Reddit for like
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah. It's years still saved on my phone.
It's like,
Oh God, yeah.
I can't say I blame.
I remember when we were watching True Detective and that happened, and it was like you could hear my jaw drop, and
the air sucked out of the room.
you could hear like I'll try and be really quiet and do it, and you looked over at me and you're like, you're a piece of shit. You're just like, control yourself. But it was like, seriously, like, come on.
Yeah, no, she's got fantastic, and I mean, like, showcasing, that's totally fine. But yeah, no, all of these years I thought for sure that was a Friday the 13th and she was related. So that's my mistake. So now I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then she was like, come here, cuz.
Yeah.
Like passing the chainsaw.
God.
Yeah, that was
And
a
I
bad.
was like, you know, I don't watch movies, even the bad ones. Like, I try and take something out of it. Like,
Oh yeah, we saw The Devil Inside together, and
Yes.
everybody in the theater was throwing popcorn at the screen, and me and you got in an argument walking out because you're like, I thought it was good.
you know what?
I think you were trying to just start a fight with me.
I don't know. I just, like, I think I just reached a point where I was like, you know what? I can find something to enjoy in every movie.
Yeah.
Except for that one.
Oh yeah.
I can't.
No.
It still bothers me. I literally bring it up.
Texas Chainsaw?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's so bad. We went to that Calgary when we went and saw Ghost. We watched that in our Airbnb to see if it was still as bad as I remember. Yeah, it is.
It's still bad. Okay, good to know. But yeah,
And she was like, no, she was Leatherface's sister. And it took place like 45 years after, and she's this 20-year-old girl.
it was some dumb shit like that, and I'm just like, I have never been so mad.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah.
I think probably I tweeted Eli Roth because I was probably drunk that night,
Oh, probably.
but still, so funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, we'll dive into my list. So the first one I have on here, the first one I saw was Let the Right One In.
Oh yeah.
That one was fantastic.
I
don't have it bolded and underlined, but I do. Like I said, like
That was in the days of me calling in sick for work or going home from work so that you could come over here, and I'd be like, I'm going to stop at CD Plus, and I'd come home with a stack of DVDs.
yeah, I remember.
Remember like that wall? Like, remember how many fucking DVDs I had?
So many.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Like, and then you have to like do the whole thing where you convert all your DVDs and like
To Blu-rays.
get Blu-rays.
Yeah.
Now there's a whole thing. I found the only Blu-ray I actually own, like the physical Blu-ray, is Moulin Rouge.
And Frozen. Yeah, I gave you Frozen when I lost in the divorce. I was you were like, can I have Frozen? It was like a couple weeks after. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I don't want
Frozen, like
the cartoon.
Disney one, really?
Yeah, it was that and Moulin Rouge, which I also got you.
Yeah, probably. It was still my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Very sweet of you. I don't remember taking. Well, I lost it.
Yeah, whatever.
Sorry. I don't know where it went. So I have like a billion movies on here, but
Yeah, go hard.
the first Pontypool is also on there.
Oh,
which
yeah.
awesome. That was one of the ones, like, it's very hard to find really, like, original ideas, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? And that was one of the ones that I thought was really cool. If you haven't watched it, just do it.
Total Canadian gem.
Yeah, really super cool. So the first one I have underlined and bolded is The Loved Ones.
Yes.
Reminded me of that one I guess not the other day, but when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
you said you had that idea for doing like kind of
A music video.
video, and you were like, I'm kind of like, looking to kind of take some inspiration from the loved ones, and I was like, fuck that movie.
That was awesome.
Fucked me up, and again, that's one of the ones that like it's a little bit concerning because I think they're baked into my psyche for a reason.
Yeah,
Like, you remember all the gnarly parts. But it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's like, that one often gets roped into torture porn because like it is, but it's so good. And remember, it's the song.
Yep.
That song would get stuck in our head, and I would play it when you got home from work. And same with, we'll get to it, but the tiptoes by the windows.
Totally.
Yeah.
Which is just like, oh man.
We loved musical cues because we got together based off of our musical tastes.
Yeah, definitely.
And our I was incredibly attractive, and you were
the front man of a band. Okay, like how could I have said no? So the next one I have underlined and bolded, but again for a different reason. Well, actually, the one underneath I'll go with first. This one is not underlined and bolded, but I have Afterlife.
Oh my god.
But I have Afterlife dash Liam Neeson, comma, stupid.
Oh, that was bad. I remember you got mad at me because we went and rented that and we were watching it and I fell asleep. And you got mad at me for sleeping because you're like, you made me watch that piece of shit by myself.
All by my fucking self.
With Christina Ricci and
she's just naked the whole time. And I'm like,
Justin Long. Yeah, terrible movie.
Like, the cast, it should have been fantastic.
Yeah, and the trailer looked really good. I remember we were stoked for it.
Oh, god damn it. Okay, so this one is kind of like on the nose, but the Human Centipede I have underlined and bolded only because this is kind of a common theme in the ones that I've remembered. Just because literally, again, I've only seen that movie once.
Yeah.
I remember exactly, like we had the couch set up here.
Yeah.
We had the TV right here. And I'm pretty sure we had some friends over to watch that movie.
Yeah, it was just me, you, and Rick. Because Rick was our we still talk about that. Rick we were a trio.
Yeah, I used to have
everything
a picture up on my Instagram. It might still actually be up there of me, you, and Rick at the Broadway Theater. I can't remember.
Oh, crazy! Yeah,
but yeah,
I remember Willow Creek, the Bigfoot movie.
I love that.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I have it underlined and bolded.
Oh, do you? Willow Creek?
Yes, I made sure because I remembered. Again, I'm so shitty with names, but I remembered last year that we watched it and I was like, what the fuck was that movie with that crazy director? And I couldn't remember his name.
Bobcat.
Yes. And I'm like, how am I not remembering these things?
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the weirdest names. So I literally Googled like, weird Bigfoot movie.
Good luck.
Had to wait 700 and I was like, I'm pretty sure it was found footage, and then sure enough I found it.
Yeah.
So I watched it actually last year on my 30 Days of Horror. But so
and Human Centipede, that was Human Centipede 2. I remember that because it was the black and white one.
we watched both.
Okay, yeah, I think,
We
yeah.
definitely watched both, I'm pretty sure.
Because I didn't want you to miss any plot points.
Yeah, we sat super close to the TV. I remember that. I'm pretty sure we moved, because it used to be against that wall.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we moved it like right fucking.
And that was one of those like big ass TVs at that point, like the ones that are 8 million pounds.
No, we actually, because remember
we bought that TV.
Do you remember the first movie we watched?
Green Lantern. Green Lantern on Steelbook.
This is going to be so awesome.
Yeah.
And then we were both like, huh.
That was the second time we watched it. We went to that movie with rows of people, and I was wearing my Green Lantern shirt, and I zipped up my hoodie on the way out. So I was like, oh boy.
I know. And I actually just listened to a podcast with Ryan Reynolds, and they mention it. And
Yeah,
this was
he shits on it still all the time.
Yeah.
They shit on it in Deadpool.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. He was like, you know what? I kind of like took it back for myself, a little bit. But okay, so I've got. Do you remember Frozen?
Yeah, the ski lift movie, Adam Green. Yeah.
When I saw that one, I got like instantly sort of nauseous because remember when he like
jumps.
Spoiler alert. Yes.
Yeah.
He jumps.
Yeah,
and
his
then,
legs snap.
Yeah. And you just watch it the whole time.
And then he gets mauled by coyotes or wolves.
You're just like, huh, I didn't see that.
Spoiler alert, watch Frozen. It's a great movie.
It came out in like, if you haven't watched it by now.
Yeah.
It's the journey, it's not the destination.
Yeah.
These movies. The Crazies.
Oh, baby. Yeah, that was a big one. What were we doing the night we saw the Crazies? Can't remember.
Anyway.
Moving on.
I have Troll Hunter on here.
Oh, yes.
Troll Hunter is fantastic.
We discovered that one when we would go and visit our friend Mike Fisher at Rogers Video. Remember, me and you would always go in there and rent movies from him? I remember renting Troll. See, I can't remember what happened yesterday, but I can remember where we were for all of these movies.
Yeah. And I mean, this is, again, like, as I'm going through these, like, slowly
Coming back.
starting to come back, you know, all of these different memories and all that kind of stuff that, like, I don't know if it's repression or, like I said, if I've just literally, like, drank them out of my head. But they are in there, you know, tucked in there. I've got... I'm pretty sure we watched Piranha 3D together.
Yep.
I'm fairly certain you dragged me to that fucking movie.
Wasn't that with my whole family?
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think
There
it was
was a Piranha 3D and a
3 Double D.
Double D.
You didn't watch 3 Double D with me. I remember you refused.
Yeah, I think Piranha 3D was about enough for me. I looked at when I was looking at this list. I remembered, or I saw like the movie You're Next.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
one?
absolutely.
That was a really good one too.
Yeah, Justin Posniak was in the theater with us when we saw that one.
Really?
Yeah, I remember he was on a date and it was really awkward for him, and we were the only other 2 people in the theater.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I don't remember that. Shout out Justin Posniak.
Yeah.
Okay. This one is actually one of my favorites. So this one's underlined and bolded. Cabin in the Woods. I love
absolutely.
that one. And I
Yeah.
know like some people give it shit because it's like, it's just such a different spin. I thought it was really clever. Like
We both thought it was gonna suck, and then we went to it and we're blown away.
yeah, because
Yeah.
we're like, this is literally called fucking Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
Like, how on the nose can you be?
And the trailer just showed them in a cabin in the woods. And I remember it was like the opening sequence where like they're driving around, the guy from Billy Madison and the dad from Step Brothers. I can't believe Richard Jenkins.
Yeah.
They're driving around and like Cabin in the Woods pops up on the screen, and me and you were both like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
Like,
I thought it was so awesome, and I loved like the marketing of it. One of the I have kind of a problem with like movie trailers.
Yeah.
It's getting a little bit better, but there was a while there where you watch a movie trailer and you're like, what the I know
Everything.
What the fuck
Yeah.
happens now? Why
Yeah.
would I go see it?
Yeah.
It's so bizarre.
I
It's
know.
Like, is your movie that boring that you need to give us all of the exciting
Exactly,
parts?
yeah.
Like,
we did a top 15 of the last decade episode, and Cabin in the Woods was my number 1.
nice.
Yeah,
It is
I love
so
that
good.
movie.
Like,
Yeah.
I really like it, and that's actually one I could probably like. Well, it's family friendly enough, I think. That, I mean, we watched it.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was pretty gnarly. Like the newer ones.
I'm sure. But the thing about Cabin in the Woods is, like, I think the reason you and I liked it so much, and like the reason lots of people do, is there's so many horror references in it. So it's like one of those things that if you don't really know what they're pulling from, like I remember we'd look over at each other and be like, oh, there's Pinhead, or there's like, they even reference Anaconda in this fucking thing. Like,
That is true. They made, it's just a brilliant way to like do the most generic horror movie, but like with a twist. So they got away with it.
It's amazing.
Really cool. Yeah, maybe I'll wait a couple of years before that one gets on the old 85 inch.
Oh, flex.
Big time.
Jesus.
Its name is Sam.
I thought mine was the biggest you've ever seen. Now you got an 85, fuck, 60, that's 20 more inches.
Yeah.
God
it's,
damn. My masculinity is tested.
It's pretty fantastic. I stand, like, we sit far enough back from it that it, like, fits the room.
Yeah.
Right? But, yeah, you stand next to it, and it's essentially, like, as tall as I am. Pretty fantastic.
Crazy.
A couple other ones I have on here. I know you hated Prometheus.
No, I loved Prometheus.
Did you really?
Oh my, yeah, remember that was like the most excited. I went twice that weekend.
Ooh, okay.
With my dad. I went with you the first time, then I went with my dad, and my dad hated it.
Okay.
But I loved Prometheus.
Maybe I'm mistaken then, because I loved it too.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome, but the, like, general consensus
Yeah.
was that it was a piece of shit.
It's tied into the Alien universe, and like Alien's one of my favorite movies of all time, but like I still love Prometheus.
Yeah.
Love that
okay,
movie.
good. Okay, cool. I have this on my list. It's, again, not underlined and bolded. I just shout out.
Yeah.
So VHS 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
I thought, again, these are the ones that stand out in my brain for some reason. I think because they're so fucking original.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like
I remember the succubus one that really fucked me up.
Bring that up.
Yeah.
You were, like, so
I was
fucked up
fucked.
by it.
Yeah.
Didn't you like date a girl that kind of looked like her after?
K. K. I don't know.
Which is a strong word. I'm sorry.
Jesus. I don't know about maybe. I think I was saying she reminded me of that succubus. Like, I like you, those crazy eyes.
Yes.
And remember we changed the background on the computer to that?
So good though. Like,
Yeah.
I'll probably go back and watch.
It's coming back. There's a VHS 94 coming out this month.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
Yeah, so they're doing like a 90s version of it.
Excited.
Yeah.
I love those movies. I'm a big like found footage person.
Yeah.
I really liked that style of of...
Yeah, the Blair Witch Project was big for us. Like, we both loved that.
We're going to circle back real quick. Blair Witch was actually one of the first horror movies I've ever watched.
Yeah.
Now that you just say that, I remember watching it in my mom's basement alone. I don't know, like, I was in elementary school, and it was when she taught at Mount Royal. She's a high school teacher, and they actually parodied it, you know, for like a pep rally or whatever. So I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna watch this movie. Like, it seems kind of funny because they fucking parodied it. And then I watched it, and it ruined my fucking life.
Yeah.
It ruined my life when I was a kid.
I remember even the first time we watched it together, because that was one that we had, like, we would do 31 Days of Horror, like, all 7.5 years that we were together, and we would do it every fucking year, and a lot of times we would just end up doing the same movies, because, like, we had our favorites, and, like, I'm waiting for, there's a franchise that I know both of us were huge on when it came out, so I'll see if it's on your list here, but yeah.
Well, again, these are, like... I have a lot of favorites. Like, I have ABCs of Death on here, which I watched again last year, and it kind of, like, surprisingly didn't hold my attention as well as I thought it would.
Yeah, I didn't like it the first time.
I don't know. I guess it was just because it was different.
Yeah, there was one. I remember there was one segment. I can't remember which one it was, like what letter it was, but you and I were both like, that one was worth the whole movie. Yeah. Like, there was one that was just so good. But I remember we were pretty lukewarm on it.
There was one where the dude was just, like, sitting on a chair.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yes. And it was, like, stop motion. There was, like, a stop motion, like... Yeah, I remember he's on a chair. I remember which one you're talking about. And I think that was the one we liked, yeah.
That one was pretty iconic. Something... Like, a lot of butt stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, like, The Conjuring is one of my favorite movies. All of those movies are...
Mm-hmm. Even we had broken up, like, for good. And it was like months later, you and I went and saw The Conjuring 2 together, just because it was like these James Wan movies were a huge deal for us, like Insidious and The Conjuring. And then like, so it was like, it just feels right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they could do, I was really nervous to watch the third one because I'm like, fuck, like, what if they fuck it up? You know, like the first two were so good. And I don't honestly think that,
it's not nearly as good as the first two.
It isn't, but I still loved it.
Yeah.
I think it'll always just kind of have a place in my heart.
Yeah, just those characters. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay. I really liked The Last Exorcism. I have Backcountry on here.
Backcountry. That was the one. Yeah. That
was like underlined and bolded. I don't know if I can, like, that movie fucked me up so hard. It was not, you know why? Because my guard was down. You go into a movie,
we thought it was going to suck.
Well, I was like, how fucking boring does it sound?
Yeah.
You know, like a couple goes into it.
And the poster wasn't great. Like, and you were never as big into, like, the nature run amok as I was, like Lake Placid, Anaconda, all that stuff, Jaws. And Backcountry, you were like, oh, it's going to be a stupid bear movie. And then when that bear attack scene happens, we were, like, I remember sweating.
Yeah. I felt legitimately sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And that movie and then Bone Tomahawk, I didn't actually watch with you.
Yeah.
But you were watching it.
You saw the scene.
And I just happened to walk in and I was like, hey, like, I have something to tell you. And then the scene where the dude was, like, upside down in, like, a spread eagle position and then got basically...
Your timing was always perfect.
And I feel like I sat down and I don't remember what happened the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, what the actual fuck? Good movie. Great movie, I'm sure. And then for whatever reason, do you remember Goodnight Mommy?
Oh, yeah. We saw that at the Fantastic Film Festival.
Yes, and that was the one that you won the poster.
Yeah, I won the poster.
I feel like we're not going to put this up in the room.
Yeah, no, we didn't.
I we did.
I threw it out. Yeah.
Then the Babadook is one of my favorites too. That one was underlined and bolded. I think I have 10 on here that are...
Have I even shown you my Babadook book? I have the actual book, like the pop-up book.
Yeah. No, but that's fantastic. I just think, like, I watch that movie still and I'm like, this is just that kid.
Yeah.
This is why, like, horror movies
it's good birth control.
The reason why I don't want children, for, like, a lot of reasons. They're either super annoying.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, like, they just see ghosts and shit. It's like they attract them, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm kind of good. For a lot of reasons. Okay, where were we? Okay. Okay, I have Sleepaway Camp on here.
Yes.
Because that was some of the most fun I've ever fucking had watching movies. Like, we got together.
Yeah.
Just got shit-faced and, like, watched these dumbass fucking... What was that? Was that
70s
or 80s?
80.
80s.
Yeah.
Because the shorts were, like, 3 inches on everybody. Girls and boys.
Yep.
And that I have that underlined and bolded just because I thought that was like one of the most fantastic ways to spend.
And that was because we watched that one together, and then we would do like group horror movie nights where we'd bring our friends over, and I remember just seeing your excitement waiting for the ending to see how everyone's gonna react. It was so good.
Yeah, that was fantastic. I mean, I've got a bunch on here too that, again, not underlined and bolded necessarily, because not that they didn't stand out, like, it was just so hard to pick. So as I was going through them, I'm like, okay, what do I remember about them and why, that kind of thing. So it's more so like looking at them and remembering how I felt. I guess. The Fourth Kind also fucked me up.
Yeah.
For like days.
Yeah, we were both fucked about that one in the theater.
Definitely.
Doesn't hold up.
It really doesn't, which is such a bummer.
Yeah.
You know, especially now, I legitimately had a client like, within the last couple months that was like, have you seen like that found footage one? Like the Fourth Kind? Like that's some fucked up stuff. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell him.
Yeah. No, I do that all the time. There's so many movies they're like, oh, you're a horror fan. Do you like Resident Evil or something?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, totally. Because like, it's better than saying no and then they ask you why and then they think you're a snob.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But yeah, that's kind of the Lords of Salem also get a special shout out. I really like that one too. Paranormal Activities, I love. Like,
that's the one I was waiting for.
Good. Yeah, because I mean, like I just feel like they shat on it.
Oh yeah, well
they made 7 of them or something.
Yeah,
like that.
They made too many. They have another one coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but the thing is, those first 3 we loved.
Loved it.
And I remember specifically the second one, you and I leaving like shook. Like we were just so, and like we had like one of my family gatherings the next day, and I remember us just like talking about how fucking good it was. Yeah. And now everybody shuts on those movies all the time, and like I don't know, we watched those ones a lot though. It was like those are the types that you got to give some space because like you don't really see stuff, so it's all about the tension.
I remember, I think it was the first one, like that movie was the first one to have like something happen in the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's not allowed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, shit. So you're sitting in your house and you're just like, oh, fuck.
And the pool snorkel. They were fucking with the pool.
The back.
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
She's like, God damn it.
Nothing's
sacred.
Yeah, those are all good. And that was a good trip down memory lane. There's obviously like we watched everything together. Like you saw every horror movie.
I mean, we could make this a 6-hour podcast.
Absolutely.
Talk about all the movies on my list and then get to yours. You know? Like I can't even imagine.
Yeah, well, I just I didn't make a list for myself because I just figured that we'd go through with yours. People hear me talk about them all the time, but yeah, I do. That was fun going through that. I was just going to mention a couple that I saw recently before we go into our main feature. But have you seen anything in the last year that has really stood out to you? Like, what's the stuff that's exciting you for horror nowadays? Keep in mind you've never been on here, so you can talk about anything from the last couple of years.
Well, that's the shitty thing is like the last couple of years I didn't really watch movies.
Yeah.
You know, so these are all like ones that we've watched that I've revisited last year.
Mm-hmm.
So Midsummer and Hereditary were the 2 that I watched last year. So I was kind of late to the party.
I never got your full review about Midsummer though, because I remember thinking, yeah, and that's how it was for me too. Like the first time I saw it, I thought I hated it. Second time I saw it, I'm like, masterpiece.
Yeah, you know, like I feel like I was influenced by the outside or a outside entity when I was watching that movie, and so I went into it with kind of like a pretension.
Yeah.
And when I watched it, I was like, this fucking piece of shit, right? I was just like...
You didn't think to trust me over...
I mean, you know...
I get it. I
guess not.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I was watching it, and I think like I was... Because when I did my 31 Days of Horror, I had to watch it like while I was getting ready for work and while I was like, you know, in pieces and stuff like that. So I don't think I got like the full effect of it. And I think what happened was I went into it thinking it was going to be like Hereditary, because Hereditary takes it to like a fucking 11.
Yeah.
And then stays there.
And you loved Hereditary though, hey?
I did. And that was one of the first horror movies I watched again.
Yeah.
Like, after I had like split from, you know, the... Are
you talking about your ex-boyfriend? Dumbass, yeah.
I was trying to, like, I was going to be, like, nice about it. But fuck it.
No, fuck him.
So I split from Fuckhead. I was living at another place while my other place was getting ready at a friend's house. And I actually, like, I wanted to watch it so bad, but I knew if I watched it alone, I was going to, like, fuck myself over. Because I'm staying in this, like, you know, random house with, like, no one else in it, right? So I'm just like, hey, friends, like, come over and watch Hereditary. terrified me. And these people don't watch horror. Like,
Yeah.
I'm such an asshole. I'm like, it's probably fine. And then as soon as her head comes off the ghost, I was like, oh no, my friends.
Yeah.
But yes, I loved it. I thought it was like, oh man, Toni Collette.
Yeah, she's so
I
good.
love her so much.
Yeah.
If I could meet her in person someday, and just tell her what a masterpiece she is as a human being, I think that would make my life. But
yeah. And you love The Witch.
I loved The Witch. Yes, I did. I loved The Witch. I watched that with a boy that I met on Tinder, actually.
I remember the story.
Yeah, and he's so nice. Like, he's still so sweet. Like, so we bonded over, like, video games and horror movies and stuff like that. Clearly, I was just searching for another you.
Yeah.
So I went over to his place and we drank wine and watched The Witch, and I didn't get his opinion on it, but I think he liked it. But I was like, fuck, I love this shit. You know, it's just so spooky and whatever. But, okay, so yeah, honestly, we watched A Quiet Place 2.
Yeah, what'd you think of it?
It was fun. Like, I think I liked it. Again, just anything, like, original, right? I know it's a sequel, but just the whole premise of, like, you know, blind monsters, and then the added bonus of, like, her being deaf, I think was really super cool.
And they brought Krasinski back for you with a beard.
Yeah.
They needed to.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I've only seen it once. I need to watch it again. But when I left the theater, I liked Quiet Place 2 more than the first one.
Really?
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe, you know, my head's been fucked up for a while. So
you might have to revisit them. I really liked A Quiet Place. I watched that one by accident. And that was kind of one of the first horror movies, semi-horror movies that I watched. I was still with, like, this person. Fuckhead. And we accidentally stumbled upon A Quiet Place, and when she's walking down the stairs and she, like, steps on the nail and it goes through her foot.
Oh, yeah. Man, so
like,
good.
I was just like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
And then I kind of realized, I'm like, man, you're such a fucking pussy now.
Oh, I know.
I wouldn't even have flinched at that, like, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? So that's why I kind of was like, hey, we gotta re-up some.
Yeah.
We gotta get damaged again, man.
Exactly. No, that you gotta, it sets good standards for yourself when you're just, like, destroying your psyche at all times.
Yeah.
You'll have an excuse for everything.
That's where I'm comfortable.
A couple just came to mind for me that I know were big ones. The Descent.
Oh, yeah. I
love The Descent.
That one last year, too. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah, it's so good. And then the Snowtown Murders. Speaking of Australian movies, do you remember us watching, and it, like, drained our soul for, like, a week?
I actually just, like, I'm putting myself... You just put me back in that mental state just quickly. Just, like, in and out
it's so dark.
Yeah. Like, oh, damn.
Okay, well, then I'll end off on a positive note. One that we saw twice in the theater, back-to-back nights. One was Valentine's Day, and then we went again the next day. The Wolfman.
Oh my God, that's on my list too. I remember that. Yeah,
we love The Wolfman.
I love that movie.
And then we walked out of the theater and saw that everybody hated it. We're like, what are you guys talking about? And I was like, let's go again. And then we did.
I did.
Still love it.
I should put, and I'm like, this year's 30 Days of Horror is going to be, or 31 Days of Horror is going to be fantastic because now I have you to, like, vet the list.
Yeah, I'll get you a good list. Did you watch The Invisible Man yet?
No.
Oh, you'll like that. New Elizabeth Moss. It's really good.
Oh, really?
But the director, he's the writer of all the Insidious movies, and he directed the third one. But his next movie is The Wolfman with Ryan Gosling.
What?
Yeah, I'm stoked. And when you see The Invisible Man, it'll give you hope for, like, yeah, it's great. Like, I think you'll really like The Invisible Man.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's great. Cool. Well, do you want me to, can you just sit and listen to me talk about two movies I saw recently?
Yeah.
Okay. Two of these they're two of my favorite horror movies of the year so far. Two heavy hitters. So I'm going to drop them now. I saw Candyman.
Oh my God, I was going to say, like, I can't remember what we were watching, but I was in the theater. I think we went to go see Free Guy, which is actually really fun.
I heard it's really good, yeah.
Really fun. So the trailer comes on, and I'm like, it's not. It's fucking not.
Yeah.
And as it's going, I'm, like, getting, like, increasingly more excited. I've only seen that movie once.
Yeah, the original. Yeah. It was great, though.
It's like Candyman, and I was like, oh, like, audibly out loud, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, super excited. So I'm so glad it's good.
Yeah. I love this new Candyman. So yeah, it's starring Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Teyana Paris, Nathan Stewart Jarrett, and it was written by Jordan Peele, Wynn Rosenfeld, and Nia DaCosta, directed by Nia DaCosta. Like this thing, it's just like, it's a really loving continuation of the original. So I wasn't sure what to expect going in terms of, like, is this a remake or a reboot or a sequel? and it's like a bit of all of those things. And like you saw Get Out and Us, correct? Like the Jordan Peele movies. Were you a fan of those ones?
I love them. Yeah. I didn't see Us for a really long time, and then I watched it, and I was like mad at myself that I hadn't watched it.
Yeah, I really like Us. But yeah, it's just like, it's a really good continuation of Bernard Rose's film. It's like not perfect, but I think it's better than any Candyman remake sequel could have been. I saw it in Vancouver with my friend Nick. We went to it, and we both were just like pretty blown away by it. There's definitely like some issues with it. Like, I don't know. I'm not going to say issues. People are nitpicking this thing really fucking hard right now. Same with the next one I'm going to talk about. But I just don't understand what people could be bitching about at this point. Like, it's very socially conscious. And like, you remember the original Candyman, they had like, it was so heavily set in like the projects and the ghetto and everything. They tie it in so well with the original. I'm not going to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but you can rent it now. It's available now. Same with the other one that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, it's just like, I just think people need to stop bitching about things being socially conscious, because horror movies have always been that way. It's always been that way. And it just so happens that we're in the middle of like, we went through all the Black Lives Matter thing, and it's basically an all-out race war between police and like people of color, and they of course are going to touch on that. Like, or you'd be fucking insane to be doing a Candyman movie in 2021 and not be doing that.
Well, and also like if they didn't bring it up, then people would be pissed.
Exactly. There's certain people that are just going to bitch no matter what, and I think people are getting mad. Like, I saw one review saying that it felt like someone was waving their finger at like all white people throughout the movie, and I'm just like, no, but also shame on you for being white. Like, we suck. Like, historically, white people fucking blow, and let's like let some people share their sides of the story that we have never gotten to hear, or like they've been repressed for so long.
Yeah, like Bo Burnham's like, can you just
shut the fuck up? Yeah. Like, oh my god, second. I love that. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about during that Candyman the review that I read. Just shut the fuck up. Yeah. But yeah, I was fully engaged the whole time. One of my favorite parts about it though is the score. Like, the score is really, really creepy, and it pays homage to like the original. Like, there's certain like musical cues that like trigger memories of the original, and I just love that. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I need a sequel. This needs more. We need more Candyman. I'm so happy to have Candyman back. And the only thing I'm going to say without spoiling anything, I felt like standing up and cheering at the end. Like, I was so excited by the ending. There's times where they break their own rules a little bit, but it's a fucking horror movie, so shut the hell up. And I'm also guilty of that. There was a while where I was like really nitpicky about certain things, and I always get shit on about like A Quiet Place. Like, it always bugged me how it's like they can't make any sound, but they have lights everywhere. Like, where's the fucking generator? Like that. But that's also, I should wedgie myself for thinking that. It's a movie. Yeah, I agree. But I don't know. I just think this Candyman, I really loved it. So I highly recommend going and checking it out. So that's my thumbs up review of Candyman. And next up, before we get into our Insidious, the series, we're going to do all 4 Insidious movies. James Wan, director of the first 2, released a new film called Malignant. Everyone's talking about it right now. Film Twitter is the most toxic place on earth. I've been trying to get away from it, especially with Malignant. Like, it seems like people are so divisive about this thing, and I 100% get why. I am so curious to hear what you're going to think of it. I think you should watch it ASAP, because this movie's fucking insane. Like, it is just bonkers. This is what happens when a guy makes Aquaman and Furious 7 and then goes back to making horror. It is so balls to the wall fucking crazy. And like, it starts out where like, I feel like within the first 10 minutes, it sets the tone of like, okay, don't take this too seriously. Like, just have some fun with it. It's goofy. It's so over the top. Like, it is so, it's the most over the top horror movie I've seen on a big screen in a long time. And as someone who goes to every Saskatoon Fantastic Film Festival screening, you usually need to go see like the ones from other countries where they get this wild. But that's why like there is a lot of exposition. Like, there's going to be lots of times where it might seem annoying to, you know, seasoned horror buffs and people who like don't need exposition for everything. This story is so fucking crazy that they had no choice but to do that. Like, it's like how people already don't know what's going on. They need to spoon feed this to you. And so I give them a pass for that. But my jaw was on the floor the last like 20 minutes of the movie. absolutely absurd. It's insane. I love it. I think it's like it pays tribute to like Italian horror movies from the 70s and 80s, which I'm a big fan of those. And then also like there's some really weird, like, do you remember, did we watch Basket Case together?
It's on my list. Yeah. I think, you and
Jesse.
Yeah,
it's Jesse.
Loved Basket Case.
Yeah.
And that was one of the ones where you're just along for the ride.
Yeah.
I think we drank a lot to that one.
We did, yeah, we did.
That's kind of what it deserves.
But there's moments in that movie of Malignant where I was like, is this a Basket Case homage? Like,
Oh boy, okay.
I remember, because that was the most expensive, like, I came home, and you never told me to stop buying movies or to, don't replace my movies that I already have on DVD and Blu-ray. You were like, hey, it makes them happy, go do it. But I remember I came home and I bought Basket Case and it was like $50. And then it was on Blu-ray and we watched it and it's like, it looks like a way worse than a DVD.
It's just like when you try and blow up a JPEG. It's just
yeah, that's exactly, yeah.
You're just like, oh, right, of course this is going to look like dog shit.
Yeah, no, totally. And I don't know. There's certain moments of this that reminded me of the House of Wax remake, which with like Paris Hilton. Do you remember that one?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, we watched that one quite a bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one's great. And then also Black Xmas. Do you remember the remake to Black Christmas that was really, really, really bad? I don't
remember the original, but I don't remember the...
I think you might have made me turn the remake off because it's so fucking gross and stupid and it's terrible. But I've grown to kind of like it because like the killer has like jaundice and he looks like Homer Simpson. Like he's yellow. He looks like that yellow bastard from Sin City. Yeah. Like, oh, it's a bad movie, but it's bananas. But there is moments of this where I was like, it kind of has some Black Xmas vibes. So... respect. Yeah, I loved it. I really can't wait for you to watch it in particular because I want to hear your thoughts. Because oh my God, there are moments in that movie where I'm like, I cannot believe this is like a mainstream movie. Because it is. And that's the other thing that I love about it, though. Like, lots of people are like, it's become popular to shit on these Insidious and Conjuring movies because they're the most popular horror franchises out there for good reason. They're really good movies. But James Wan, like, he's a guy who we've been following him since the beginning with, like, the only movie he did that I didn't like was Dead Silence. Do you remember that doll movie with Donnie Wahlberg?
Vaguely.
Yeah, I think we didn't like it. Like, it's a piece of dog shit.
Yeah, I'd been out for a bit and I remember going to the, like, movie store and it's memorable because of the case. Like,
because it looks like Slappy.
Small.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really all I remember.
Okay, well, yeah, that's those are my 2 reviews for the week. So that's 2 movies that I highly recommend getting out to see. Obviously, though, since we're still in the middle of a pandemic and what felt like we were nearing the end, but we just got some new mandates passed yesterday, which I am thrilled about. I cannot believe Saskatchewan's doing the vaccination proof card. Like, I love that.
Oh my God. Like, I'm just like, just walk around and start stabbing people.
I know. Yeah.
Just
or
on the off chance that they're unvaccinated, just like stick them in the arm.
You know, like in Jumanji, the guy has like that. Like that's what people should be doing: hiding in bushes and shooting people in the neck with 100%. Pfizer. But okay, well, do you want to talk about some Insidious movies?
Let's fucking get into it.
All right, we'll be right back.
The Saskatchewan Podcast Network is supported by Direct West. Is marketing getting in the way of running your business? Things like updating your Google listing, thinking of a headline for a billboard, or making sure your website is in good shape? That's where Direct West comes in. You can get local expert marketing help for your business at directwest.com.
Okay, let's dig into this Insidious 4-part series. So there's 4 films out at this point. I actually should have checked. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another one in the works. I hope not, but
I don't know. Like the way that they ended it was.
Yep, there's another one. The Dark Realm. The Dark Realm. Yeah, Lynn Shaye's back. Oh, same director as 4. Yeah.
Who wrote it though? Because like. If Lee Winnell is a part of it.
He's not. This will be the first one that he's not a part of, I guess.
This one will probably also be the first one I don't watch.
Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't even know this was happening, but Insidious The Dark Realm. It's supposed to, release date, November 11th, 2021.
Here we go. Oh my
Yeah.
It's right around the corner, isn't that?
So it's almost like we planned it and didn't reveal that we didn't even know that this was happening on air. But, all right, let's start off with the original. Let's go.
November 11th. That's Remembrance Day, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, not that it matters.
No.
I guess, but still has
All right, Insidious from 2010, which was written by Lee Winnell and directed by James Wan, the team behind, I guess they did like all those movies together, Dead Silence, Saw. But yeah, Lee Winnell went on to direct the third one, which we will get to, but let's focus on this one first. So the synopsis, for people who haven't seen it, a family looks to prevent evil spirits from trapping their comatose child in the realm called the Further. So it's starring Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne, Ty Simpkins, Lynn Shay, Lee Winnell, and Barbara Hershey. Do you remember The Entity?
no.
The rape ghost movie? It was like a ghost. Like, I remember that one really bothered you.
The Entity.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that one is in like the repression.
Yeah,
Oh,
because I remember that. Actually, I remember that one upsetting you because it's a super upsetting movie, but it's really good. But Barbara Hershey, she plays Patrick Wilson's mom in this. And James Wan, I think he owns the rights for it. He was going to remake it, but yeah, I don't know if that's still happening. But
I'm gonna go ahead and put it on my list. See if it bothers me just.
okay, so let's get into this. So before we really dive into these movies, let's just say, I think it's safe to say I know your thoughts on 3 of them at the very least, because we saw the first 3 together in the theater. I don't know your thoughts on the 4th one, The Last Key, yet. I think that's what it's called. What about the Insidious franchise makes you a fan of it?
It's just so fucking fun.
That's exactly it.
You know, like you just basically, you know, like you'll watch it and you just lay back and let it fuck you. You know?
Yeah.
It's like if you try to apply any sort of logic to this, like I've had arguments with people who don't like these movies.
Idiots.
Like, why are you trying to apply logic to something like this?
Yeah,
First of all,
it's a ghost world. Like,
just like the kid, you know, like astral projects, which is, I mean, I don't know what you subscribe to, but like there are people on this planet that think that's a real thing.
Yeah.
And it happens too, and whatever.
and it makes for good stories.
100%. And the fact that, like, you know, they take it and they're just like, okay, there's this ghost world that he goes to, and then there's like demons trying to get into his body. And I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly.
Like, want to watch something like that.
Yeah, so pretty much ditto. I entirely agree. Like they're so much fun. I feel like at the third one they become a little less fun and more serious. But the first 2, regardless, like I think this first one is, I'm gonna say it. I got flack for saying it about The Exorcism of Emily Rose, but I say it's a modern masterpiece. Like I think like Insidious is going to be like it's going to be a movie that everyone is going to remember for a long time. Like. Not that I'm going to have kids, but if I did, my kids would watch it and, you know, it'd be passed down generations. Like, I feel like this is like our generation's Poltergeist.
I mean, you might have kids somewhere.
Don't.
They might come knocking on your doors.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. But yeah, I remember when we went to this movie not knowing much about it. We just went to every single movie together. Like, it didn't matter. We saw Green Lantern in the theater, so that should tell you we watch everything. Cowboys versus Aliens. Like, we watched some bad movies in the theater. But yeah, like I still remember us looking at each other when the violin stingers come in at the beginning and the screen comes up, and it's another one of those situations where it's like, what the fuck are we in for here?
Yeah.
And it just steadily ramps up and gets crazier and crazier. And I remember, and I still stand by this, I'm on board for this movie beginning to end.
Yeah.
I love how it starts out kind of just really dark and scary, and then it goes into kind of an otherworldly area, which I know whereas a lot of people fell off like as soon as they go into like the Further. But I think that side of the story is so interesting and it's so fun and it looks cool, and like, yeah, the demon looks a little bit like Darth Maul, but I think that
Don't even come at me with that.
I know, but it takes so much. Like, it's like, yeah, got a red and black face. It's also like he's a scorched person with blood on his face is what it's supposed to be.
Well, I thought it was, I read something where it was like he was a man at one point who he puts lipstick on, like, because remember when
That's in the
go
second one.
into his, they go
Yeah.
into his like lair, I guess,
Yeah.
or whatever, and he's like sitting he was a performer of some kind, and he's sitting in a mirror and he's like doing his makeup or whatever, so that's supposed to be like,
Yeah. Oh,
lipstick,
right. Yeah.
all that
He's because
kind
he's
of stuff.
lipstick face demon, and he's played by Joseph Bishara, who, I didn't even mention this about Malignant. Malignant it's also scored by Joseph Bishara, who did the first 3. No, he did all 4 of these Insidious movies. His score for Malignant is the best thing he's ever done. Like
So
it.
time out. He was the demon?
He was the demon, and he scored it. Yeah, he does the lipstick face demon.
Triple threat.
Yeah, exactly. He's a weirdo, and like I love what he does though. And yeah, there's just so many moments in this movie that's just like it's like a haunted house thrill ride in the theater. It's like this is the very definition of fun horror.
Yeah.
Like
for the first and second for sure, and the second one definitely feels like that kind of like he's walking through and there's all these kind of seemingly plastic people standing everywhere, and then all of a sudden there's that little like pick of like whatever piccolo shit that is, whatever instrument that is, and then they move. Like
it's so good.
And you're just like, oh, that's so creepy and unsettling, and you know, you hit the nail on the head with it's just there's so many iconic moments.
Yeah.
And right off the bat, that Insidious with those
stingers.
Oh my God, like that as my ringtone for my mother for a while.
I remember you had Imperial Death March.
Maybe that's what it was. Yeah, but I just, even to this day, and actually that's one thing that I made a mental note of today when I was watching the fourth one. They don't have that.
Yeah, no, the fourth one's really missing it.
Take that out. I thought for sure, like, I thought maybe, like, it was going to go through, like, the credits and stuff, and then it was going to, even at the end or something like that, but they missed it, which really is, I mean...
You lose the feel of the franchise by doing that.
I mean, that's exactly it. You start... Because usually with horror movies, like, you know, there's that joke in The Office with Erin that she likes watching horror movies with Gabe, only
Look at the funny...
the 20 minutes.
Yeah,
because
when the family's happy.
Because you start off a movie thinking, like, okay, these people have their shit together, and then things start to get wild. But with Insidious, you start that movie fucking uneasy.
Dark, yeah.
Already, you're just like, something's gonna happen.
No, totally agree. And like it's elevated so much because of the performances too. Like Patrick Wilson and Rose Byrne, they're so believable. Like it's kind of hard to. I can understand having Patrick Wilson in both Conjuring and Insidious, and they're both similar in ways. But I do think that they're different enough. Like this Insidious is way more bonkers than The Conjuring, at least how The Conjuring started. And like I love Rose Byrne, major crush. Yeah, and she's so good in this. And you just like you feel for the family. Like that's what makes it like it's fun and it's actually scary, but you care about who you're watching. Like you're rooting for them. And like that's the best part about these Insidious movies for me is that the main characters are so goddamn likable. Like there's I don't know how you can be against any of them. And like Dalton, you feel bad for him, and it's creepy as hell. The bedroom scene with the lipstick man standing in the corner. Like I remember, like there's just iconic moment after iconic moment in this movie.
Like that one that I think it's just everything about it is just so unique. There's because even the scenes where she is, you know, doing her seance. She has the gas mask on, and then he's listening to it and writing down everything that she says, or like drawing. Or it's so creepy. It's just everything about it is just so creepy. But it's almost like it's in your face, but it's also
sure.
And just the way that everything was thought out was,
especially by the second one, like it really comes together. But like this first one, it's just such a tight little horror movie that's just like it's relentless, it's nonstop, and I feel like it doesn't delve into like the campy side of things until when they do go into the further, and I don't even think they go really that campy other than him, you know, running along the walls and shit. But it's still like it's a genuinely scary movie. Like I remember us leaving this movie being creeped out.
Well, again, like we went into it and we were like, you know, our guards were down. I don't know what this is going to be, like whatever. And I legitimately remember going home being like, I am, you know, you get that eerie feeling after watching horror movies. That was kind of gone for me for a while because we watched
so many.
Nothing really got to me. And then for whatever reason, I remember specifically the night of, or maybe it was a couple nights later even, waking up in the middle of the night to pee, and I'm just like, I'm gonna fucking get it.
Yeah.
Like, god damn it, the house is all dark and shit. Like, because as soon as I opened my goddamn eyes, it was just like, he's just in the corner. With freaky ass hands and shit.
That or the cradle, the baby cradle. With them standing behind. Like that, I remember that, like, we saw this and that, I still remember that it was like a sold out theater. I remember exactly where we were for all three, the first three. And the first one, it was like gasps, like at one after another, like it was just working on people. And I know there's so many people who don't like jump scares, and I understand that, but I feel like this is like a movie that justifies jump scares. It also is like jump scare the movie. That's what this franchise built off of, but that's also what going into a haunt is like. Like, you know, like that's a part of horror. Like people who say they don't like jump scares, like there's a lot of different things you can like in horror, but if you really hate jump scares, I don't know how you can be like a hardcore horror fan, because like they're so ingrained. Like the difference is this one is just loaded front to back with them.
Well, and what I love about it too, and they did it in this first one, and they did it in the fourth one, was there's that scene where they're in the kitchen in the middle of, like, it's daylight, right? And she's looking at Patrick Wilson. She looks away for one fucking second, and then she looks back, and it's right there. Him, right? Yeah. And it's that boom, and everybody's like, what the fuck? And she freaks out and whatever. I remember after that movie came out, I think I was on Reddit or something like that, and there was a picture of that, the demon behind Patrick. People were talking about it or whatever. One of the comments was like, you know, I just happen to be scratching my balls at this time.
Oh my god.
I almost tore my scrotum out. I thought that was fantastic.
Oh yeah, like these one, like they still work. Even I remember seeing The Last Key. There's a couple parts, like a suitcase part, that like really fucking got me in the theater.
And I actually started laughing because he's baiting you.
Yeah,
he's baiting, like she opens the suitcase and it's covering just behind that tunnel, and she closes it and there's nothing, and she does it fucking again, and then she looks behind her, there's nothing, and you're just like, God.
Yeah, they keep it going. Yeah.
Happen? You know, and that's what I loved about them, is just like when you think you're going to be scared,
you're holding your breath, and then you're holding your breath for too long. You run out, you're like, I got to breathe. And then the scare happens.
Like, and it's just like, there it is.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that thing to fucking come out of the suitcase.
Yeah. No, it's like James Wan is like he can teach a human clinic on jump scares and just scares in general, like even just creepy things. Like he really shows his like creepy side of stuff in The Conjuring. I feel like the original Conjuring, still one of my favorite movies. Like that's like such a great film. But this Insidious, it's just like, it's relentless. It's nonstop.
It really is. They all are, actually. And you're right. Like the second one got a little goofy, but I think it was a lot more fun. You could tell he had lots of fun writing it. And then the third one comes along and it comes down like more into the dark parts of things.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it, honestly. I think for that one, there are a lot of jump scares. But the one that hit me the most was actually when she gets hit by that fucking car.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's nothing better than seeing someone get yeeted by a car. Like, 'cause, like,
you're not expecting it at all, right?
And I remember we went to that one thinking that it was going to suck, because it was just like, oh, James Wan's not doing this one. And, like, the trailer looked kind of lackluster. And I'm not going to lie, like, it's close to my favorite one, the third one. I love that third one. And it's so different from the first couple, because it really focuses on Lin Shaye and like the further, and like how dark and creepy and gross it is, and how like there's just no hope. It's like literal hell. And that's what I really like about the third one. And it's like, it's so emotional, and all of those emotions work for me.
Definitely.
Like, so we'll jump back to that one a little bit. Let's talk about the second one though, because like, yeah, we went to that one, and I remember thinking, it was like, oh man, they were going to drop the ball. They're dropping the ball hard, like the first little bit, because it's just not like it really took the camp through the roof, and it started just being goofy. But looking back on it, it's probably the most entertaining one to watch again, because there's so much, there's so much world building stuffed into that movie. Yeah. And it feels like he had to have had that planned out in the first one.
Well, because there's so many line throughs, right? And I mean, that's actually what's impressive about actually like the whole series, is like, everything does tie back. Like all the timelines all make sense. Like it's just, you know, jumping back and forth between like, oh, this is when it's, you know, the third one is after. Right?
Yeah. No, the third one's a prequel.
It's a prequel. This one is also a prequel. The third is also a prequel. Okay. Good. Yes. No, that's right. So, but I mean, even then, it's just like, you know, she plays it so perfectly, like through the entire. She's exactly the same. And I even, like, the casting for the second one, you know, for when Patrick Wilson's character was a little boy.
Yeah.
The mom and, like, the person.
Oh, yeah, Jocelyn Donahue. Yeah, she's so
like
good.
A total babe, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I was watching that one.
That's a girl from The House of the Devil. Do you remember that one? Oh, you hated that one because it was just her dancing around the house?
Yeah, I was like, this is the dumbest shit ever. I mean, yeah.
You should watch it again. I love that movie.
Yeah, because I think there's probably little nuances in there.
Yeah.
That were lost on me at the time.
I just remember you and I watching that, and my mom walked in right at the blood orgy. There's like nothing happens in this entire movie, and then there's like someone being sacrificed. There's blood everywhere. The people are fucking. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God.
We were like 24.
Yeah. Hey,
she was living with us.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But yeah, then the second one, yeah, you were mentioning the opening. Like, that was the one thing that caught me off guard. And now I'm all for it. Like, watching it again, like, I felt like I was becoming so critical back in those days. And, like, especially at the beginning of the Terror Table, like, I don't even want to hear the first 50 episodes of this because I was just so, like, I know what I like and I know what I don't like. But the thing is, like, now there's a lot of things that I used to nitpick about that I see as positives. Like, I come around on them and I understand the decisions that they made. Like, the woman who plays young Lin Shaye and like young Elise, or yeah, it's in the second one where she's talking to the mom and it's her voice coming out.
Yes.
Like,
I made a note about that actually when I was watching it, and I was like, really trying to think, like, did they need to do this? But they kind of did.
Yeah.
I know it did. I think at first when we watched that, I was like,
it caught me off guard and I didn't like it. Yeah, because I was like, it's not necessary.
This is so stupid. Like, you know this is Elise, but at the same time, she is so effective in her portrayal of a medium that is like, just, it's so incredibly empathetic.
Yeah.
And strong.
This is the role she was born to play.
Yeah,
and it came so far down in her career. Like, she was in the original Nightmare on Elm Street. And like her brother was the one, Bob Shaye, he's the one who put out all those Nightmare on Elm Street movies. He's the owner of New Line Cinemas. And he would make deals with Wes Craven, be like, he would get him a bigger budget if he put his sister in movies and stuff.
Really?
Now look at her. Like, she is the Insidious franchise.
Well, and what I love, I was thinking about it, because in chapter 4, she's like pretty fucking old.
Yeah, but
like,
she's still got the balls. Like, yeah, she's a badass
Like,
still.
not once are you just like, I laughed really hard when in that tunnel scene specifically, and she's with Tucker, and she's like, someone's got to go get it. Like, it's
Yeah.
the suitcase is at the end of the tunnel or whatever, and she's like, well, someone's got to, we have to go grab that or something like that. He's like, stand back, and he pulls the flashlight out of his pocket, gives it to her, and he's like, okay, go ahead. Not for he needs any fucking help. Need any fucking help. She's like a strong ass, regardless of like in her 60s or whatever it is. Like, I love her, and the fact that she was able to portray an older woman who was like walking around in this haunted ass house and calling out ghosts and demons and shit, and you totally
doing it in a badass way. Like, there's so many times where like the writing is corny because these are made for mainstream audiences. Yeah. Like, this isn't the German snuff movies that we watch. Like, it's like, this is meant, like, lots of people aren't conditioned for this stuff. So I give them a big pass, especially in the Insidious franchise, for like explaining certain things. But clearly they don't explain it well enough because there's so many fucking dumbasses out there who just shit on these movies.
Well, again, and every time someone talks to me about not liking Insidious or having issues with it or whatever, and I'm like, that's fine. You can have your opinion, but again,
you're wrong.
You're wrong. Like, you're so wrong. It's just like again, go watch it and just take down all of your bullshit and just fucking watch it for what it is, which is just like a fun ass like demon movie,
Yeah, I don't understand how you, like, if you're a fan of haunted house movies, like, these are some of the best, like, they're haunted people movies basically, but like they play out like funhouse rides, and that's what I love about them. That's why they're so rewatchable. Like, we did these movies, like, I think we, like, together we had watched Insidious 1 and 2, like, fuck, I would go on, say, 10 times.
It's been to the point where, when you asked me to do this, it was a couple months ago, but I mean, I didn't feel like I really needed to watch the first two. And even like I mentioned to you, I was like, I watched the third one, but I don't even really feel like I needed to watch it. There was little things that I forgot about, but they're just like, so I'm pretty sure they make up like at least like 2% of my personality at this point. It's like a lot of it is just so
ingrained in you.
In me that watch them again just for funsies. Basically.
Yeah, totally.
I like to.
So we're both huge fans of the original. Closing up chapter 2. That was one where when we saw it in the theater, I remember I was going back and forth the whole time, like, do I hate this or do I love it? Do I hate it? Do I love it? And then it kind of ended up in like the middle for me. Like, when I saw The Last Key, I actually would say that I liked chapter 2 the least out of all of them.
Yeah.
But going back, like, I feel like chapter 2 jumped up in my books. I just like all of them. Like, I'm a fan of all these movies.
That's the thing, and it's just like, as you watch them and you think back to them, it's like a race in my brain, and like a never-ending race of like, oh, now I like this one a little bit, now I like.
And that's a good problem to have. I do that with like Every Time I Die albums. Like, I'm like, oh, now this is my favorite album. Or like Protest the Hero. It's like you always change what your favorite album is. But yeah, it's kind of like you discover different songs that you're like, oh, I didn't love this one as much when it came out. Like, I'm sure you do the same with Ghost. We're both huge Ghost fans. And that's what these movies are like. There's just moments in them. Like, there's the scare in The second one where they're talking through those like cans with the string. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And like it's not inventing anything, but it's doing it so fucking well.
Yeah.
Like it's taking all of these things that James Wan clearly like grew up being into, same with Lee Winnell, like they clearly like know what scared them as kids or, you know, young adults, and they put their own spin on it, and that's why they're so successful.
Yeah, and you can totally tell, like, you watch those movies and you're like, fuck, man, like, these guys had so much fun making these movies.
Totally.
They love.
Yeah. This was one of the, like, especially, like, going back to 2, it's like, that would be so much fun to be on the set for 2, because they go so grand with everything. Like, there's so many ghosts in that one, or, like, so many demons from the further, and, like, they're a little, predictable to an extent, but it's the way that he tricks you. Like we were talking before, like he knows how to subvert, like, yeah, you know this is going to come, but you don't know exactly how it's going to come or when.
Or even just like the little twist on in the second one where the woman in black is actually a dude.
Yeah.
His mom is super crazy.
Yeah, that it's so sad.
Doing that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, don't you dare.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
Yeah. You'd come out of the bathroom, don't you dare! Because that one got us hard.
Slap people around the whole time.
I'm pretty sure my hands flew. There was one movie, I'm pretty sure it was that one where my hands went up. And I'm like a guy, like I'm so desensitized to all of it, but this is a different kind of like sensory overload, because it's just them trying to fuck with you the whole time. And I can understand why some people wouldn't get a thrill out of this, but it's so much fun. Like so much fun.
Yeah, I think so too.
So yeah, I love the second one as well. Now, like, do you have a ranking? We can share it once, because we haven't even talked really about 4. I want to spend a little bit more time on 3, then we'll get to 4, then let's do a ranking.
Okay.
But yeah, so 3, this was the one that was like, it's destined to be less popular because it wasn't James Wan. Lee Winnell was directing this one. There's no Patrick Wilson, Rose Byrne. Like, we're going back. Like, it seems like you either have a prequel or you send them to space. So I actually want Insidious 5 in space. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, it's like Event Horizon. Oh, man. But yeah, like this one, it's like it pulls the dial so far back. It's such a, like, I feel like the only thing that makes this really an Insidious movie is the spirit, because of Lynn Shay and Tux and Specker, or well, Specs and Tucker, which are both characters that I love. And they're ones who, like, there's always those comedic relief, like, characters in movies. And I know that, like, sometimes it can really destroy a movie. But they're so fucking good in all these ones. Specifically 3, I think that they're really good in that one, because it's so heavy. Like, watching that one, I watched it again last night, and for a while I would say that the third one's my favorite, and I'd say it's just like 1 and 3 are like tied for me, and that's such an unpopular opinion. But I think it's genuinely just like, it's bleak, it's disturbing, it's so much. There's far less ghosts, way more Lynn Shay. It starts becoming Lynn Shay's story. Or sorry, Elise, I should start saying. And like you had mentioned before, the seance scenes. Yep. That seance scene, I was welling up. I was like...
Well, and like, that is actually something that I realized I hadn't really seen, is like the dice. Like,
yeah.
It's really cool.
Oh, yeah. The dice in the second one, I love where he's like, what is Parker Crane holding behind his back? And then he rolls it, and it's like a knife.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's just fucking... I don't know how you can not have fun with that.
Yeah, I love that shit. And I actually, when I was watching it, I was making notes. And one of my notes is, I mean, obviously all your shit's packed up right now, but I was thinking, like, I'm actually surprised that this room didn't look more like her seance room. I think at one point it probably was pretty close.
No, it did. Definitely our old podcast room did. Yeah. But yeah, I love that seance room. Like, in both... is there a seance in the second one?
I don't remember. I don't even remember, because some of them, like, that's the great thing, and also
they kind of blend together a bit.
They blend together quite a bit.
Like, that's the coolest part about 2. Like, that's where I really went on board for it, is when they're running around the house and you see Patrick Wilson's character in the further, and he's the one making the noises, slamming on the door, and it's like that. Just like, I got chills just thinking about it, because I'm like, that's just really clever writing. And, like, how they were able to, like, for all we know, he probably came up with all that not knowing that they were going to be able to do a sequel. Yeah, so totally. It's really impressive that you'd be able to take a story that you already wrote that's so, like, tight and cohesive, and then it's like it runs the risk of becoming convoluted, where it's like there's way too much going on, which there's so much going on in Insidious 2. But that's like, we already have the first one. So let's go with a little bit more wacky. Yeah. It's kind of like Amityville 2. Did you ever watch the Amityville Horror 2? It gets really rapey and incesty. But that's
maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. It's a Poltergeist 2. Like, they just notoriously, haunted house movies get way wackier in the second one.
Well, I mean, because you can't. They're already like at a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
And so that's what, like, you touched on it a little bit already, but that's what I loved about, because you can't top 2.
No.
So where do you go from 2? You got to come back down.
Exactly. And you know that they gave him less of a budget because it wasn't James Wan directing it.
Yeah.
So
basically, it has like, I don't know, just off the top of my head, maybe like 3 sets.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a small apartment.
Per bedroom, the apartment. Yeah. And then the further, which is still technically in the apartment.
Yeah.
And then there's a brief scene where she's at the theater, and that's when she gets, what did she say, yeeted?
She gets yeeted out of there.
Yeah, and I just think every single movie, and as much as, so like number 3 and number 4 kind of have very similar feels to it.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of did the same thing where it was like number 3 was dark and very, it kind of like sucks the air to the room a little bit with like the tone.
Yeah. Four is like so fucking dark.
It is very dark, but it is like a more fun spin on it.
Yeah.
A little bit like with the keys and like a little bit less. They're all supernatural movies, but it's a little bit less like demonic, and it's a little bit more like fun in kind of a fucked up way.
Yeah.
He's got key fingers.
I think they do. I think they knew that they needed to go back to that, to like a little bit more of the fun side of things. Mm-hmm. But what I was getting at too is that, when we saw the third one, I remember everyone was like so annoying in the theater, and that's like, you hated going to the movie theater.
I do, and I've like, if any of my massage clients hear this, they will back me up on this. I say this to people all the time. I swear to God, like some sort of witch put a curse on me as a baby. And my curse is, if I choose the tickets, I hated going to movies because of this, because it, like, without fail.
Sitting next to a dumbass.
Horror movie, or this happens in movies, this happens in sporting events, this happens at concerts. If I buy the tickets or pick the seats, or even, like, pick a line at the fucking grocery store, 100% of the time I will sit beside someone who smells. I had one girl, I think we were watching Pacific Rim, like... She was a humongous human being and ate the whole time.
With her mouth open. Yeah.
But she with her mouth closed, and then I swear to God, I don't know if you remember this, but she ripped the bag of popcorn open and licked it.
Yes, I do remember that.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that, I think that was when I was just like, I'm never doing this again. It happens to me all the time. So thank God for Netflix.
Yeah.
I can watch, like, I love the theater experience, and I love now with like Landmark and VIP.
Oh yeah.
You have like, and honestly, like, let's keep social distancing.
Oh God, I wish.
I'm here for it, because I'm just like, I went to the movie theater a couple, months ago when it opened up, and it was like, you pick your spot, and then all 6 of them around.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Nobody can see it, and you're like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing my entire life.
What they need to do is they need to get like, arena style buildings, which obviously would be very expensive, and have like little pods.
The pods would be fantastic.
That would be.
I mean, realistically, like now, that's like my living room. I have an 85-inch TV.
Okay, flex once again.
Any of the wires or anything like that. It's like, it's so fantastic. But I mean, there is something to be said about the theater experience. But yes, as you were saying,
they were really they were bad at the beginning, but I remember everyone kind of getting on board, and then I remember the like theater getting kind of weepy near the end. Like it really works. Like, I think that the third one works really well. And even though you see it coming a mile away, when you know that she talks about how her mom passed away and everything, you're like, okay, when's the mom going to show up? But it's like, it works so well. Like, it's when she does show up, we have some help, or I had some help, and it's just like, it's heartwarming. And I like when these movies are so relentless and then they end on like a heartwarming, like, see, family is what it's all about. Like, and then they close it off with always a jump scare. Yeah. Always. Yeah.
That was what I loved about the second one too, or maybe it was the first. No, it was the first one, where she takes his picture and still.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
It's so fantastic.
No, I love it, and like I thought, like the man who doesn't breathe, like I really liked him as like a demon, a character, and
he can't breathe. He was so like, you wanted to stay away from him for so many reasons, but just the fact that he just like oozed.
And when they take off his little breathing mask, and his mouth just looks like a deformed fleshlight. It's all gross and like, yeah. But then there's that's that one scare. Like that's the thing though, is like Leigh Whannell had huge shoes to fill. Like obviously he's been sitting in front row watching James Wan construct the scares and everything. I'm sure he helped him in a lot of ways. But the one where the camera goes like above the window and then back inside and then about, it's like, it's so cool and it works so well. And I love that. So I'm a huge fan of the third one. Also, the score is like you said, even like the first two have the really bombastic, like loud, crazy stingers and everything like that. I love about Insidious, but I love how emotional the score gets with the story in the third one. And I think it really works. Like looking back on it again, I'm like, hasn't gone down in my books at all.
Yeah, no, I was worried, honestly, like, every time I revisit a horror movie that I love, or a movie that you love in general, there's always kind of that little bit of you that's, like, kind of scared it's not going to be as good, right? Like, I just rewatched Superbad.
Oh, and it's never going to not be amazing. Oh, my God. No way.
I didn't think so. Like,
really?
It is good. Okay.
Yeah,
like,
I still think it's a classic.
Like, it is, and it's a classic, and I enjoyed it, and I'm not saying that it's, like, bad. Yeah. But I remember fucking losing my mind when you first watched that. And same with This Is the End. We're kind of on a themes of stupid movies or whatever. But when you watch those movies for the first time, you're hearing everything that they're saying for the first time.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like so fucking funny. And then there was a little bit of that like predictability of knowing what they're going to say. I appreciate it from a standpoint of just like, that is such a funny line and I love it. But it's nowhere near as hilarious as it used to be. So
true.
I did have that missing from it where I thought, like, my expectations were probably a little bit high going into it, thinking, like, oh, I'm going to lose my mind laughing at this. And I didn't. So there's always a little bit of that.
Also, you're not a teenager anymore. That's it. Because, like, the thing that I loved so much about Superbad is those were my friends. Like, that's how, like, it's so realistic to, like, the time capsule of when I was in high school, it was those fucking kids. Yeah. So, like, that have you watched Good Boys yet? We're off on another tangent. No. It's like, it's Superbad about three young boys. And I thought it was going to be dog shit. And I laughed so hard. Really? I loved it because I was like, they remind me of like, I think they're 12 years old. And I was like, my friends were talking exactly like this. Like saying like sexual innuendos that they have no idea what it means.
Sure. That's what I loved about it too. The one kid.
Oh yeah. He's so good.
Mom jokes,
jokes
and stuff like that. And his friends were like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
100%. Everybody had that one kid. That was, again, call back to Justin Posniak.
Yeah, for sure.
My kid.
Yeah, he's still that kid.
He's our asshole.
Yeah,
totally.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I was worried watching them again. Not necessarily Insidious because I know that they're fantastic, but the third one I had only watched I think once. Honestly.
Yeah, probably the theater.
Once or twice maybe, and
theater, and then the love faded. It started slowly dying, going into the further. For deeper and deeper.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that didn't happen with any of them. Like, Chapter 4, obviously, I watched for the first time, and I really enjoyed it, and I don't think I'm going to go back to it and be disappointed.
Yeah. You know? So let's talk a little bit, like, let's get to that one. So, Insidious Chapter 4, The Last Key, it starts off at the beginning of Elisa's story, and she, like, grows up in an abusive household next to a prison that performed, like, lobotomies and executions. Her dad was one of the guards that would perform those. It's just like it's a haven for demonic activity. So it's a really cool setting. And like, that's another thing. Like, did they have that planned? Did they know Lynn Shaye's or Lisa's backstory? I love her backstory. I think it adds so much levity to her as a character. Yeah. And this movie, more than any of the other ones, the best part about it is it just makes you fall deeper in love with her. Totally. Like, this one is 100% her movie. Yeah. Like, it's no one else. And there's also like, I was shocked by how many. I thought it looked like dog shit, and then when we went to it, I thought there was like, there's so many twists that I didn't see coming.
Oh my God, like that's why I just watched it today. The first time because I was like, I'm not ready to love again.
Yeah.
You know? Like I'm just like I don't know what I'm gonna do if I watch this and
it sucks. Shit. Yeah.
But I watched it and I was just like so happy and I was elated and I was smiling like a dumbass the whole time talking to Oprah.
So heartfelt.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this is why she's so fucking strong. Also, like, have you ever seen her, like, I don't know what the actor's name is that plays her dad, but have you ever seen him in something where he's not an abusive?
No, he's always a dick. Yeah, he's always a dick, and he's always in Yeah, he was in. He was in those collector movies. He's really good though.
He's fantastic.
But he's such a good dick.
A bit pigeonholed, I would say. Although
Yeah,
he did end up being
Josh Stewart.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Josh Stewart. You play it really well.
Yep. And The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, he's one. He's one of the goons.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of like a theme.
Yeah.
But he does end up like his further soul, I guess.
He gets a little bit more redeemed for how much of a monster he was. So it's like it's a really complex like idea and story behind it. I think the concept is better than the execution. I think this one feels like dramatically cheaper than the other ones, but because it was. Like the sets are, not as elaborate, but they find the really cool, like that tunnel is cool. I love that it was right beside that asylum, and all the like flashback scenes with like her thinking that she sees a ghost. Like every time she sees a ghost, she gets punished, and then she actually sees a real human being and thinks like that. It chills right now.
I know.
Like I don't know. Like I get like this one got annihilated by critics, and like horror fans hate it. I hope we have some listeners out there who like it because I still give this one a pass. It's definitely the weakest out of all of them, I think, but it's still good.
That's the thing is like in my brain, I guess maybe because it's fresh. Right now it's at the forefront, and it's absolutely like it doesn't touch like one for me.
Yeah.
Thing. I think I'll probably have to sit on it a little bit longer to see where it lands in between like 2 and 3. I don't know, like 3 I really liked, but I don't know. I might like 4 a little bit more, just because it is a little bit more fun.
Yeah, definitely.
But I guess it depends on like where you are mentally when you watch it.
Yeah,
right? So I watched it today. I was excited to come here and talk about it, so I'm like having so much fun again. Like completely relieved that it wasn't a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I loved when she's like in that, I guess like prison or whatever.
Yeah.
In the basement, she comes and she's trying to help this dude, and it's like. The little moments where it's like, God damn it, Elise, just pick up the fucking key already.
Yeah.
There's like flashlight to the key and then flashlight to the thing. And then
They do that a lot,
it's like a little bit of like she moves a little bit.
Oh, I like that, yeah.
Like Tucker's like, that's a person. And you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
And this guy comes in, it's like a whole other thing.
Yeah.
It's just I thought it was super cool.
Tucker and Specs are very good in this one too.
So and
Specs is Lee Winnell, right?
Yes,
okay.
Of course. And there's that one, I think it's in the third one, where they briefly show their laptop, and it's Lee Winnell, the guy who plays Tucker, whose name evades me. I think James Wan is sitting in the middle.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? It's just like a brief moment of his laptop.
And James Wan's at the beginning and the end in the theater. He's the guy auditioning her. Oh no, that's in the third one, where he's doing the auditions in the theater.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I love that kind of shit, like when they sneak in. And then, Bruce Davison, who plays the guy who turns into that, like, sloppy, wet fucking tampon in X-Men. He's the guy who, like, turns into gel. Do you know what I'm talking about? But he plays Elisa's brother.
Oh, yeah.
But he's an X-Men. He's the guy, like, he's just gooey and, But he's, like, him and Lin Shaye, they look like they could be related. And, like, their interactions with each other they run the risk of seeming super corny, but I'm on board for it. Like I find them like I was invested. Like I felt for her, like thinking about like how she left him, and he's like, "You left me with a real monster. Like you scared the shit out of me." I think there's some really good writing in it. Honestly, like it's really heavy in the right parts, but yeah, it's a good blend between the first two and the third one, where it's like it's still pretty depraved. Like it's hard watching a kid get beaten, and like the kid's so good at acting that she was like her scream.
Nothing impresses me more. This is maybe gonna sound fucked up, but when kids like, how old is she in that movie?
She would have been like probably 14. Yeah, can't wait for you to hear the screams I got in my movie.
I can't even imagine. Honestly, like that would be something that's kind of like this is like podcasting. This is gonna sound lame, but that's all I do. Is like listen to podcasts and watch movies and stuff like that. So this is actually super cool for me because you like get to do the thing. I'm so proud of you that you like started a podcast first and foremost, because that was a big part of our, universe for a long time, was just like, consuming media and everything. And then you just like go and fucking do it. Like, you can just do it, but everyone's like, you can't start a podcast. You're like, no, I can, and I did.
Yeah.
And now you're going to like do the film thing and you're gonna fucking do it. But being in a horror movie would be something that would be like so fucking fun.
Yeah.
And it always blows me away when kids, you get them in that, and it's like they just like her screaming and crying. You were just and like, no, daddy.
Yeah.
Like screaming that, and I'm just like,
It's so impressive.
Incredible,
Yeah.
You know? And like just touching back on it, I remember watching the guy that plays it. God damn it, there's like
Skarsgård,
there's
yeah.
like 17 of them. I can't remember which one. Bill.
Yeah.
He did a really interesting interview on something that I can't remember, but there was the one scene where he was like screaming in this kid's face, just like screaming and drooling and, you know, saying all this wild shit to him. I can't remember which kid it is. It's the one with the broken arm at the end of the first one, but regardless, they're in the house.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's telling the story about like, he's like, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm screaming at this kid thinking that I'm going to like, you know, like traumatize him for the rest of his life. Someone calls cut, and the kid's like, "That was amazing.
Yeah,
that's so good. Let's roll it again."
I listened to that. I listened to that same podcast. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, he's just like, yeah, he tapped on the back. Good work. I love what you're doing with the character.
Fucking 12.
Yeah.
Bill's like, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So yeah, like I always like think about that, and like it's kind of fucked up to think about the places that these kids have to go in their brains. So
totally.
They do that, but they do the thing, and you like are, you know. I totally buy that she's terrified, and the only like of course like I watched these movies and I was like, don't go down there.
Yeah, every time. Yeah.
That generator.
Yeah.
Those lights are gonna go crazy. But yeah, it's all the acting in it was actually quite fantastic, and I think it's really hard. Like there's a lot of, because you said like potentially cheesy moments.
Yeah.
But when they meet each other in the diner, and I mean like I said to myself, I was like, of course like. Both of her nieces are just like fucking stunners, but it was kind of like worked into the storyline where
because
like,
that way they could they could sexually assault her.
and you cared about it.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, there's these guys that we really like, but they're being super creepy, and like I had to look it up because I'm like, is she in high school though? Like, yeah. But she's older.
Yeah, because I guess they're older. Right?
Yeah.
So they'd be in their 20s or 30s or whatever, but. When they met each other in the diner, and he just like as soon as he saw her, he was just like livid, and you can tell. And it's
he's a
like,
good actor.
It's really hard to I think portray like raw emotion like that.
Yeah,
and they did a fantastic job of it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's the other one too. Like in the trailer for Insidious 3, I remember not liking the like hands covering the eyes, like how it like morphed into her face. You know, when she's walking with her as like she's walking with her as like a dog.
Oh yes.
But then I ended up loving that, and it's the same thing with the key fingers. Like I think the key fingers is a pretty cool idea. Also, soft spot for lock and key, which I know you also love, and like so I just like anything with keys and like creepy. Like the fact that they were able to make another demon is cool, and have it be successful. Yeah. My main gripe with the whole thing though is that the ending is so fucking anticlimactic. Like with the mom coming in and she just like shines a light and it's gone.
Yeah.
I would have liked.
It was gonna come back, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, you totally knew that was going to happen. But I was like, let her. It's like, I guess you probably haven't seen the new Halloween or Halloween 2018, but it's like Laurie Strode fighting. Yeah, do you not even know about that?
I mean, I probably. But
you were never really huge into like the slasher stuff, anyway. So yeah.
Guy, not really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. Let's. I think that's a good place to wrap up the Insidious movies. I think we covered those pretty well. Let's do rankings. Let's go you first.
I'm pretty indecisive. I think okay.
Whatever. You're not gonna. This isn't set in stone.
Like I know, but it's gonna change. But right now, so I think the first one will always just hold a special place in my heart because it was the OG, obviously, and I came out of that movie not hating or even disliking anything.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna go.
I think that one. I think honestly, the original Insidious really skyrocketed us being horror fans together. Like that was like the movie that we went, that and the Last Exorcism.
Oh my God.
I remember we had so much fun with those. Yeah.
So creepy. I think that was one of the first found footage ones maybe we saw.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
The timeline's all fucked up. But yeah, so number one is definitely number one for me.
Yeah.
And then I love them all for such different reasons, but if you're making me do this, you know, I really had a lot of fun with number 4.
I knew you were going to go, and I knew you would, and that's why I'm so happy that you were on this, because like I'm happy. I would much prefer have people on who are passionate and enjoy the things that we're talking about, because it's better than just listening to someone beat up on something. And I love that you loved it as much, like, because I really really like it as well. So no, I'm really happy to hear that. That's high ranking.
So that's number 2 for me right now, and like again, it might change, but I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Like a lot of it, I just had so much fucking fun.
Yeah. That's inventive.
The demon was really creepy. Kind of looked like my grade 9 boyfriend.
Oh my God, it does. Was that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
There was a moment there where I looked.
That's how I knew I had a chance. I remember I saw like, she's dating that guy?
All punching below her weight, Morgan, eh? Yeah, so I loved the demon. I thought it was really fun. And yeah, just the twists and turns of it. Elise was amazing in it. Number 3 is going to be hard for me. I think probably number 2, and then I think number 3 is my least favorite.
That's still good. You still like that one.
But I still love it.
So what a good franchise. Yeah. No, mine's pretty close. It would be the first one, third one, 2, then 4. But that can all change, just like, you know, like it might change for you too. I've now seen the third one 3 times. So it's like, I think it had been a while since I'd seen 2. So that one jumped up in my ranking because like I always considered it my least favorite. And yeah, I just had a lot of fun rewatching it this week.
It is the most different out of all of
them,
right?
Yeah.
For sure. And you watch it, probably you could watch it with people and at like a party and have fun watching it, right? Whereas like there are a lot of horror movies obviously that you need to watch and really pay attention to, but that one is just
it's just fun.
It feels like a ride.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, but I can totally see why you have yours. As your favorite.
Well, you know, and I'm a depressing son of a bitch, so like the third one is so depressing.
You like the dark.
Yeah, I like
which
it.
Which is awesome. It is very bleak, and like the fact that, you know, you feel for her in the sense of like both of her fucking legs are broken.
I know.
She's dealing with a demon.
And that scene with her busting through, it's so cool.
So gross.
Yeah. No, I love it. Awesome. Well, this was an insane amount of fun. I'm so happy we could finally make it happen. But before we let you go, you are a nutrition coach and professional. Like you do personal training and everything as well, don't you?
Mostly online, yeah. So this was all kind of birthed from the pandemic sort of thing. We started it back in December. And, you know, being off for 2 months as a massage therapist, I'm just like, well, fuck. I need to make money somehow where, like, I don't have to be in the room.
Yeah.
Right? So we do all online. Which, you know, helps and hinders. I think there's a lot of, obviously, value in being in-person training and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But this lets people, like, especially during a pandemic, like when people are not comfortable going to gyms or whatever, we do home workouts, we do, you know, online nutrition and stuff where people just, like, track their macros and stuff. So.
Which would be great we have listeners all over the world. And I know, like I was saying a bit off air, and I guess we started talking about it on air as well. But it's really easy to fall into bad habits when you are a movie fanatic in the way that we were and are. And like just, you know, eating pizza, eating junk food, and like especially, you know, it's the Halloween season, candies everywhere, pumpkin spice lattes, pumpkin flavored beer. So is there somewhere that our listeners can reach out to you if they're interested in getting some coaching done?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have, there's Mob Fitness YXC, I believe it is on Instagram. And then we have Mob Fitness and Nutrition on Facebook. Or I am M.O. Hladiuk on Instagram. That's my, I guess, personal page. I post more like about like my own personal journey in regards to like my weight loss and what I do now in regards to like workouts and a lot of mindset stuff. Because man, like
that's the most important part, and that's something that I think both of us really struggled with. And you've even helped me with that recently, in like terms of like meditation and stuff like that, and mindfulness, and those are all really good things that you do not need to be in person to learn about and to get some guidance and advice. Yeah. So I definitely urge our listeners, if anyone's, you know, wanting to, you know, get your health back or get in a little bit better shape or just want to feel better, you're definitely the person to talk to, because you're a person who has been exactly where I was and where a lot of people who are as passionate about the stuff are. And you feel like there's no way that you're ever going to get to a point where you're going to be happy with yourself. But if there's someone who can set you on the right path, it's someone who has done it before, done it multiple times, but now you're unstoppable. Like you really are. I can't see it ever not becoming such a huge focus in your life. And like I said to you countless times off air, the happiest you've ever been is when you've been fit and like at least involved in fitness some way, or health and nutrition, and like you would meal prep, but you also found like you've tried everything. So you know the ones that really work and the ones that, you know, might seem a little bit more of a scam or so you're definitely a person to reach out to. And I think we're going to try and plan for Morgan to offer up some tasty, healthy Halloween treats that you can make this year. So we'll post those on our Instagram at the Terror Table, or on Facebook or Twitter. We'll have those on all of our social medias when this episode goes up, or at least a week after. Like, I'll give you some time. But yeah, pumpkin flavored shit, chocolate, I don't know.
Pumpkin flavored, I mean, honestly, like, sitting and watching movies and having snacks is like, it's the best.
Yeah.
Right? It really is the best. And like you said, I've tried all the diets, like, under the fucking sun.
Yeah.
And the way that I coach now is honestly, like, just flexible dieting. It's the bare bones of it is just, like, watch what you eat. You can basically eat whatever you want. I mean, my rule is always 80-20, so 80% things that make you feel good, 20% of the things that are good for your soul. And 20% of the time, if you want to eat... Like, we cited a study all the time of this guy, I think it was, like, in Illinois or something like that, did this study where he ate nothing but protein shakes and Twinkies, and he lost weight. Like, he lost weight.
Yeah.
He probably felt like shit. So
yeah, no
possible.
kidding.
So yeah, I mean, like, I'm not here to tell you can't eat snacks while you eat movies or while you watch movies.
Yeah.
You can have your literal cake and eat it too, not to be like the cheesiest person in the world.
Yeah.
But it's you know, enjoy your beers, enjoy your popcorn, enjoy your Skittles and everything, but just do it in a way that is benefiting your life instead of using it as a filler.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I know that's exactly what we used to do. It's like, oh, fuck, we hate our jobs. We hate, like, where we were living. And, like, you know, so it's so easy to lock yourself in and just eat like shit and feed your soul until your body's destroyed.
Yeah, 100%. And not to, like, I could talk about this for 1,000 years, but not to get too sciencey, but literally we've been doing, not me personally, but, you know, I've read lots of studies where literally there is, you know, bacteria in your gut that processes all of the stuff that you put into your body, and it controls a lot of the hormones that, you know, feed your brain, right? So that's like serotonin, dopamine, cortisol, all that kind of stuff. And so they've been doing studies on things like refined sugar and alcohol and just, like, really processed foods, that kind of thing, and it actually hinders serotonin and dopamine release.
So you're telling me it's not a good idea to eat Domino's pizza every single day? Deep dish Domino's pizza?
Probably not. I can make a plan for you where you could probably eat Domino's pizza every day and still lose weight, but you're probably still going to want to kill yourself.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here, Morgan. This was a blast, a long time coming.
Yeah, I had so much fun. And like I said, this is like bucket list check off for me. I've always wanted to do something like this. And, like, the fact that I get to talk about the Insidious movies is, you know, just like the cherry on top of it.
Absolutely. No, we'll have you back, but it's going to be Skype because I'm going to be across the country.
Or I'll just come and fly there.
Yeah, let's do that too. You got to come to a Canucks game because you know what sucks is I'm going to Vancouver and I have less friends there who are Canucks fans than here in Saskatoon.
I believe it.
It's fucked. But yeah, so we'll do that. But yeah, we'll be back next week. We're entering into our 5th year anniversary as a podcast on October 1st. We'll mark 5 years. So this episode should be going up a little bit before that. But stay tuned because we got a lot of really fun and exciting stuff planned for the month of October, the best month of the year. So thank you so much for listening to the Terror Table, and we will see you guys next time.